Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning or good day, depending on where you're from. Welcome back to another live stream. How's everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Last day of the week here. Another day, another chance to gain more conviction in our business. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's day is going well. Hope everybody's week is going well. Just going to take some time to welcome everybody into the stream before we get into any information here. Good morning, Arif. Good morning, AS Trader. Good morning, Alovo. Good morning, Mock. Good morning, JR. Good morning, Brutal Trader. Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, HMH. How are you doing today? Good morning, Rod. Good morning, Kosh. Good morning, Learner. Good morning, Horn. Good morning, Frequency. Good morning, My Tool. Good morning, Zaka. Good morning, Maya. Good morning, Island Dreams. Good morning, Rum. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Taunton. Good morning or good day, depending on where you're from. Welcome back to another live stream. Hope everybody's week is going well. We got one more day, so let's close out this week strong. Let's make sure that we focus on our process, keep our risk managed, finish out this week nice and strong. Good morning, Grateful. Good morning, Bear Trader. Good morning, Umar. Good morning, No Too Broke. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Haynes. How's everybody doing today? See how chat is doing so far. Throw a 1 in chat if you're green on the day. I meant to say week. Throw a 1 in chat if you're green on the week. Throw a 2 in chat if you're red on the week. And throw a 3 in chat if you did not trade this week. Hey, good morning, AO. Hope your day is going well. Okay, couple 1s, couple 2s. Seems pretty 50-50 so far. All right. Okay. All right, all right. My accent is British. No. No, it is not. I'm from the US. Yesterday you passed a 50K eval. Let's go. Congratulations. Very good job. Very good job. So, a couple different things that I had to point out before the session starts. First things first is beware of some Tradovate issues, right? Like, so take a look at this. Ready? Boom. They are not even letting me log in this morning. All right, so please beware of the issues with Tradovate. If you are trading on Tradovate right now, you can see what's going on here. Okay, so please beware. If you are in Tradovate already, that's why I'm saying beware, right? Because, you know, do you really want to take a position right now when you might get logged out and then you can't log back in? That sounds like an issue. Okay, so please beware of the Tradovate issues. All right. That's for the individuals that trade on Tradovate. So please be aware. All right. So next is, as you can see by the title, we will be talking to Mr. ZINC today. So in about 45 minutes, we will have him join the live stream as well. We'll do that at about 9 a.m. Be talking to him about the initial balance. If you remember, what was that, 2 streams ago? When was that, chat? That was recently, but I can't remember if it was this week or last week. Here, let me just run through an example real quick. We did a live stream going over the initial balance. Okay, so here's an example right here. And this is what we're going to talk to Mr. ZINC about. This is the strategy that he uses. Okay, so the initial balance being the first hour of New York Open. So you can see 9:30 to, hold on, 9:30 to 10:30. Okay, that's the initial balance. We point out the low and the high of that range. Okay, if the low is created first, right? This one was created first because in terms of time, this is 9:30 a.m., whereas this is 10 a.m. So if the low is created first, then we long from 50% of the range. Stop loss goes at the low of the range. Okay, and TP would be at the high of the range. So it would look like this. All right. This is the strategy he used to make a 30K payout at Apex. All right, so now TP would go at the high of the range. And what a beautiful move there. Right, so just a quick example. We're going to dive deeper into that conversation when he gets here. But if anybody hasn't seen him yet, you definitely want to take a look at his socials. He did a great job running up some 25K Apex accounts. So very good job. We will definitely be having that conversation with him here this morning. See who else we have here today. Good morning, Sathish. Hope your day is going well. Good morning, Monique. Hope your day is going well. Kim, hope your day is going well. Mr. Tattoo, good morning. Titus, good morning. TG1987, good morning. Hope everybody's day is going well. Hope everybody's week is going well. Happy Friday. You guys made it to the end of another week. So listen, if you're still standing here, if you did not blow up, give yourself a pat in the back. All right, this is quite literally one of the hardest businesses there are to run. So if you made it to the end of the week, give yourself some props. Seriously, there's nothing easy about this. Hey, good morning, Ferna. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Easy. Good morning, DGTO. Good morning. Good morning, Victor. Hope your day is going well. Victor says he passed an eval and went green on the same day. Let's go. Congratulations. Very good job. Very, very good job. Congratulations. So another thing to point out was that we have news coming up here shortly. Let's just double check real quick. Yep, we have right here. So 8:30 a.m. All right, we have, what is this? 8:30 a.m. is GDP. And then we also have to be aware of 9:45 a.m. PMI. All right, so in my opinion, I do like to trade on days that have red folders. As day traders, we need the volatility. We need price to be moving for us to make some money or lose some money. either way, we need the volatility so that we can try to capture a move, right? So I personally enjoy seeing the red folders. We look at red folders as volatility. We know that volatility is going to enter the market at these times because of the news release. Okay, so matter of fact, you know, I'd rather be participating on days that do have red folders compared to days that don't have red folders or bank holidays. Everybody knows that a bank holiday is one of my scheduled breaks. It's going to remain that way. Don't plan on changing that at all. So just be aware of the red folder. All right. The other thing is New York Open, right? New York Open is always going to be an important time. Same thing with every other open, right? Asia Open, London Open. We look at these important times to understand volatility. That's the purpose behind it. We need to know when volatility is entering the market so that we can manage our risk accordingly. All right. So we do want to participate at the opening times. We do want to participate when there's red folders. We just need to be aware of them so that we can risk properly. All right. Now we can get into some biases. We can go through our assets and take a look at what to expect for the day. All right. So let's hop out here. Okay. This is what I'm looking at for NQ today. All right. NQ is currently getting rejected by an bearish FEG on the daily chart. For that reason, I'm going to be looking for lower prices. Right? An internal to external move, however you want to call it. It looks like it found resistance at the daily bearish FEG. Therefore, I'll look for lower prices. Now, I'll just have a little bit of patience with me. I got to take a screenshot of this because I journal every single day. So I'm making sure that my documentation gets into my journal, because the way that I journal is I create a game plan before the market opens. I take screenshots of it. That way I can understand what I thought beforehand, what happens during the time of, and then the results to it afterwards, right? So I document it in a journal, which is my Discord. I document on Twitter, right, via text and screenshots. And then I get on here on live stream so I can also see and hear, right? So I'm getting multiple forms of documentation done via writing, via live streaming, the whole nine, so that I can go back to it and learn from it, right? Your journal is going to be your best friend. It's going to be your best learning opportunity. I highly suggest everybody journals, okay? So let's get this over there. And, right, the thing that I'll be writing is bearish bias, internal to external. I'm looking for a move from the daily FEG lower towards the swing low. All right, and that'll be the same thing for ES. As you can see, it's already here. ES is the correlated pair to NQ. It should be moving the same at the same time. So let's also get a screenshot of this. Okay. Get this over into the Discord. All right. Very good. NQ and ES completed. The dollar, okay, you can see that the bias was completed here. So yesterday, I had spoke about higher prices simply because this gap got invalidated, right? So all that I do here is analyze swing highs, swing lows, and FEGs. That's how I obtain a bias. I do that on the daily chart. Okay, above a swing high or inside of a bearish FEG, I want to be bearish. The way that I become bearish is analyzing the type of price action that occurs at that location. right? So is the price getting rejected from the swing high? Is the price getting rejected from the bearish FEG? If it is, then I'll look for a bearish bias. And same exact thing goes for being bullish, right? I want to be bullish below a swing low or inside of a bullish FEG. And to confirm that idea, I look at the type of price action that occurs there. If price is getting supported by the swing low, if it's getting supported by the bullish FEG, then I want to have a bullish bias, okay? Now you can easily see when you are wrong to those biases, okay? For example, this is what I'm trying to say about this bias here. This is where, right here, this is where I would no longer want to be bearish from a bearish FEG because price clearly invalidated the bearish FEG. It did not get rejected by the bearish FEG. It went and closed a candle past it, showing that it was invalidated. That is when I became bullish because we invalidated this bearish FEG. Therefore, I was looking for a move to the swing high. Okay. And we ended up getting that. We did end up getting that yesterday. Okay, so to me, this is the bias being completed. And now we have to analyze what happens here. Do we get rejected by the swing high, or do we invalidate it by going right through it? That's the question that I'll be asking myself for the next bias on the dollar. What type of price action occurs here at the swing high, right? If we get rejected, right, I'll be looking at today's daily candle closure. If we get rejected, right, like if the candle forms like this, a big upside down candle that has a seller's wick, that is a rejection. Then I'll be bearish and look for lower prices. Okay, that's a rejection. That idea getting invalidated would look like this: a huge bullish engulfing candle closing nicely above the swing high. Then I would not want to be bearish because it does not look like it's getting rejected by the swing high. All right, so I will be patient here for today to look for the type of price action that occurs here. And that is the question that I'll be asking myself is, do we get rejected from this location? Yes or no? So let's also put some arrows on here before I put this in the Discord. Okay, there we go. Take a screenshot of that one. Okay, the dollar. All right, looking for what type of price action that occurs here at the swing high to determine the next price move. Do we get rejected from the swing high? Or do we displace through it and close above it? Okay. Let's get this over into the Discord. Hey, good morning, Karen Deep. Good morning, Rocky Mountain Trader. Good morning, AV Dream. Good morning, Only True Trader. Hope everybody's day is going well. Hope everybody's week is going well. Just a couple things for any of the people that are just joining now. Tradovate is not working. Thank you, AV Dream, for bringing that up. Yes, Tradovate is not working, so please be careful if you use Tradovate. It is not allowing me to sign into my account right now. Okay, so I'm saying that because if you're already in your account, I don't know if I would want to take a position, because if it signs you out and then you can't sign back in, then you're stuck in that position. Right? So please be careful. Think in terms of risk, not reward. All right. Good morning, Weapon. Good morning, Simo. Good morning, Bob. Yep. So we do have news coming up here any minute. Okay. 8:30 a.m. Red folder's about to drop. We have 9:45 a.m. as well. So please beware of the news. Right? Like that just sounds like a recipe for disaster. Imagine you get into a position before the news. The news goes completely against you. You don't have a stop loss set, and then you get logged out of your account. All of that sounds like a blown account. That's what it sounds like. So please beware. Please beware. The other news is that we will be talking to Mr. ZINC today. About a week ago or something like that, we had done a backtesting live stream on the strategy called the initial balance. Okay. That's the strategy that got Mr. ZINC a 30K payout over at my, excuse me. That's the payout that came from Apex. He got a 30K payout from Apex using the initial balance. So we're going to talk to him about that today. Alrighty. Give me just a couple seconds here. Hey, good morning, Aliza. Good morning, Vis. Oh, wow. Vis says, received 2 times $2,000 payout. Let's go, Vis. Let's throw a bunch of W's in chat for Vis. Let's go. Plus, MFF expecting today? Wow. 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 Congratulations. Amazing job. I absolutely love to hear that. Let's go. Let's go. W. Good morning, UM Trades. Hope your day is going well. Yeah, imagine Tradovate goes down every time there's, a red folder coming up. Like, is that planned, or like, what's the deal with that? Right? Like, come on now. Come on now. Back to the biases real quick. Same exact bias as the dollar, just inverse. Euro is inversely correlated to the dollar. So I need to see if we're going to get supported by the swing low, or if we invalidate it. That's going to help me understand what the next move is. Okay. But let me come back to this. We have news coming up here any second. So I do want to see the news. See what happens with the news here. Please beware, we have a red folder coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Here comes a red folder. Good morning, The Prince. Good morning, Andrew. Got news coming up here in 1 minute. How long has Tradovate been down? I'm not sure. If we have any London traders in here, that would be appreciated if you can respond to that. I'm from the US, so I've only been awake for a few hours here. So it might have been down during London session too, is what I'm saying. Help me with an account. Listen, I do giveaways. Okay? The giveaways are randomly generated. I do not hand out accounts. We do giveaways. All right? So please don't ask me for an account. You can participate in the giveaways. That is the only way of obtaining an account. When we do giveaways, we put everybody's name into a random name generator. Okay? So everybody gets a fair shot. Okay? We don't hand out accounts, we do giveaways. So, decent move lower there off the news. That's why I was saying be careful with the Tradovate issues, right? If you just got stuck in a long there and got signed out of your Tradovate account, you'd be screwed here. So, careful. All right. Good morning, Lightem Bodied. Good morning, Nico. Good morning, Checkmate. Good morning, Chaser. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's day is going well. Hope everybody's week is going well. All right. Let's also make a deal here. Let's make a deal here. All right. Let's see what we got. How many people are in here? I want to see what kind of deal we can make. Good morning, The Punisher. Hope your day is going well. All right, let's see. All right. I will run a giveaway if we can get the like button to 150 likes. All right, so smash the like button. While you're at it, hit the sub button, turn the notifications on. But you got yourself a deal this morning. I will do a giveaway. It'll be for some My Funded Futures accounts. All right. We will run a giveaway if the like button could hit 150 likes. All right. You all have yourself a deal. Let's see what happens. Giveaway winner announce time. We have no clue what the time will be because we need the button to hit 150. So I don't know when you guys are going to make it to 150. We will see. We will see. We will see. All right, so we had the news there. I'll go over my bias one more time. It looks like some people are still asking. We just completed our biases for all of our assets that we watch. Okay, here's my bias for NQ. Here's my bias for NQ for the day. All right, some things that we can aim at. Previous day lows, because I'm bearish. Okay. So looking for lower prices here this morning on NQ and ES. Okay. Dollar, we need to see what happens here at the swing high. If we displace through the swing high, then that looks like bullish continuation. If we get rejected by it, then that looks like a bearish bias. So we need more information on the dollar, whereas NQ and ES, we're looking for lower prices. All right. See if they go for a previous day low here in pre-market. Looks like they might want to. Looks like they might want to. Once again, for any of the new people that have just joined, Tradovate is having some issues right now. Okay. Look. Okay. Take a look. Tradovate's having some issues right now. Ask yourself, do you really want to risk if you don't even know if they will allow you to stay in the account? Okay. Sometimes risk management is not a dollar amount that's on the screen. Sometimes risk management is the technology that you're using, right? If the platform is not working properly, ask yourself, do you really want to risk right now? Ask yourself, right? Like, what happens if you get into a position, then they log you out, and then you can't log back in, and you can no longer manage that position? Is that a situation you want to deal with right now? Ask yourself. All right. Please be aware of that. Hey, good morning, Cash. Hope your day is going well. Sniper Man Trades, good morning. Chip Smith, how are you doing today? Trader007, what's up? How are you? Bob Ross, good morning. The Big Keeter, good morning. Brutal Trader, good morning. Kersley, good morning. How's everybody doing today? How is everybody doing today? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Governor, how are you doing today? Good morning or good day. Hope your week is going well. You guys currently have yourself a deal of 150 likes. If you get it to 150 likes, then we will run a giveaway here on stream. Okay. We have Mr. ZINC coming up here as well in about 20 minutes. We are going to have a conversation with him about the initial balance. If Dixie displaces higher, does that mean ES and NQ definitely goes lower? So just the word definitely there is what bothers me, because there is zero guarantees in this market. There's nothing that has a 100% correlation. There is nothing that has a 100% certainty. Okay? Yes, there's an inverse correlation between Dixie and the dollar. When the dollar is going higher, ES and NQ should be going lower. That is the inverse correlation between the dollar and NQ and ES. But what I'm telling you is that correlation is not perfect. That does not happen every single time. There has been times where the dollar's going higher and NQ and ES are also going higher. Okay, so there is no definitely. Okay, there's a random distribution of probabilities. We don't know what's going to happen. Okay. If the dollar goes higher, yes, it gives NQ and ES a better chance of going lower, but there is no guarantee. Okay. There is no guarantee. The correlation is not perfect. It does not work 100% of the time. But looks like we're getting our first target here on NQ. That's probably, yeah, previous day low for ES. ES is not there yet, but NQ did get to the first target of previous day low. So looks like the bearish bias is starting to play out already in pre-market. So very good job with the bias there. Had some drivers with the news. We also have news coming up at 9:45. Okay, so beware of 9:45 as well. Red on this week. Listen, it's completely okay to be red. In this business, losing is inevitable, okay? But do not allow that to tilt you. Do not allow that to ruin the rest of your business. Look at every single situation as a learning opportunity, okay? I have losses, okay? It happens. Every single trader has losses, okay? That's the reality of this business. Matter of fact, I'll even go even further. If you see social media marketing, right? If you see people that only show green numbers, please understand that that is marketing, okay? There's no such thing as a 100% win rate, all right? You will have losses in this business, but the way that you react to these losses is extremely important. If a loss is going to make you tilt, that's going to be the thing that makes you blow an account. If a loss makes you ruin your day, right? Now you're so angry and frustrated that you can't even go on about your day. It's going to be a very rough road here because losing is inevitable. You will come across losses in this business. Okay? Don't let that ruin your day. Don't let that ruin your weekend. Don't let that ruin other relations. Don't let that ruin your account. Okay, learn from both experiences is what I'm trying to say. Be objective to both of the results. Learn from winners. Learn from losers. Stick to the process for both of those outcomes. Okay? Journal. Learn from it. Okay? Come back better next time. Okay? You will experience losses in this business. All right. No worries. I even sorry if that was like too straightforward. I wasn't trying to like be rude or anything. I just wanted to be you know, transparent and honest because you know, deal with a lot of stuff in this business, and the last thing that we need is, you know, unrealistic expectations. Gold analysis. Let's take a look. Where are we at on gold? Gold is pretty stuck in a range, stuck in consolidation. Sorry, I just got to respond to somebody real quick. Sorry. I have a lot of people contacting me right now. I'm just getting a little sidetracked here. All right. Gold. Gold, this is just stuck in a consolidation. I truthfully don't even want to trade this. This thing, it had a massive run up. It had a massive run lower. And now, right, it's kind of exhausted. It's kind of exhausted of volatility. Right, we're just squeezing now. Now we're just getting into a tight range and going sideways. In my opinion, there is no real bias here. The only thing that I can say is that we are consolidating. Right? Think about the different phases of price delivery. Okay? You either have expansion, right? Right here would be expansion. All of this would be expansion. You either have expansion, you have retracement, or consolidation. Right? So we've seen expansion, we've seen a retracement, and now we're dealing with consolidation. All right? So in my opinion, there's not clear enough information for me to be one-sided. The only thing I can say about it is consolidation. That's how I feel about gold. Okay. Ash, can you pull up the 5-minute uni on NQ? Let's take a look. See what we are looking at. Talking about a continuation to the downside. Is that what we're looking at here? Are we looking at a continuation to the downside? Very nice job. Very nice job. Tapped into that bearish FEG there. The only problem that I have with this is that the objective has been completed. The objective has been completed. In my opinion, I would no longer look at that for this right here. Right? Like if we're bearish, right, we want to take it from the bearish FEG and we want to bring it to some kind of low, right? A low, excuse me. If we're bearish, we want to take it from an FEG and bring it to a low. So I would no longer want to use it anymore. I do agree with what you're saying. It definitely is a bearish unicorn, a continuation one. It just completed its objective at this point. Like I don't want to long after a low has been taken out. I want to long from a bearish FVG or above a swing high. And that's a key level too, right? Because that's previous day low. Yep, previous day low. So just my 2 cents on that one. All right, once again, for any of the new individuals that are just joining, we have Mr. ZINC coming up here in about another 10 minutes. We will be pretty much interviewing him. I'm going to be asking him a bunch of questions about the initial balance. All right. We'll be interviewing him about the initial balance. That is the strategy that got him a 30K payout at Apex. On top of that, if you get the like button to 150, we'll do a giveaway for some My Funded Futures accounts. Can we look at silver? Silver is going to be the same thing as gold. Right? I feel the same exact way about silver as I feel about gold. There's no real direction here. We're just consolidating. We had a large move higher. We had a large move lower. And we've ran out of steam. Right? Now we're just consolidating. So, in my opinion, there's no real direction here. We're just going sideways. Okay? It's the same way I feel about gold. Look at the 5-minute on gold. I don't know how to be any more clear about this. It doesn't even matter what's on a lower time frame. What matters is the higher time frame. Right? Like, sure. Yeah. There's a bullish unicorn here. Has a gap. None of that really means anything if you can't define the direction, right? Then you're just pattern trading at that point. So, in my opinion, great job. If you are in that trade, you've completed the objective here, right? Because you take it from the low to the high, right? So now you'd be in a profit-taking opportunity, right? If you got long like this, this is where we're looking to take profits. Take it from the low to the high. This would be a location to be profit-taking for a long position. All right. Very good job on that long if you did get it. Give me a second. I'm going to move to sitting. All right, here's the key. Here's the actual key to trading. You need a sit-stand desk. If you don't have one already, you got to get a sit-stand desk. It's good for the health. Healthy mind. Healthy gut. It'll keep you here in the long run. Same thing with black coffee with honey in it. These are all the keys. All the keys. Sit, stand desk, and black coffee with honey. The recommendation of getting some steps in before trading. Yeah, listen. Think about a professional athlete, right? Do you think that, you think LeBron James steps on the basketball court and immediately plays the game? Like, without warming up, without taking some shots? Oh, look who it is, chat. Look who it is, chat. Mr. ZINC is joining. Give me a second here. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. We are live already, so the stream will be able to hear you.
Good morning, everyone.
Chat, give me a couple thumbs up. Confirm that you can hear Mr. ZINC if you don't mind. See what we have here. Give chat maybe one or two more good mornings just so we can confirm that they could hear you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Very nice. Cool. Good. All right, and then I'll give you the option. Yeah, do you want to be on camera?
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's pull that up as well. Let's take a look.
Get that all set up.
All right, let's see if this ends up working. All right, so you should be on camera now as well. Let's see. Chat, give me another thumbs up if you can see and hear Mr. ZINC now.
So, yeah, I see myself.
There we go.
Turn the light up a little bit, see if that helps.
Awesome.
It was a bit quiet. I was a little bit away from my mic. Should be a little bit better now.
I can increase the audio on my end too. So, chat, what do you think? Is he quiet or no?
You can see quiet though. You can see in here. Very low audio.
Oh man, there's an echo. How do I? I'm not sure how I'm gonna be able to fix the echo.
Could mute me on that would work.
Do I have to?
Let's see if I mute you.
Yeah, that might be better. But then we probably have to use the stream volume, right? Might be better. Try headphones. All right, give me a second here.
I got you now.
Is the echo on my end or is it on his end? So that, I don't know, that might have done it.
Let's see. It's on both? His end. Oh, shoot. I don't have any audio's coming out of my headset, so I don't not sure what that would.
Give me 2 more seconds. I gotta change the audio now. Let me try one more thing. I guess I didn't even think about this when we were testing yesterday. All right, let me try one thing real quick. Speaker voice. Let's go to. Sorry, chat. Just give me a couple more seconds trying to figure out the audio. It's not even giving me the option for the headphones. Very nice.
Sorry about that, Ash.
This is on my end. I guess I should have tried this beforehand. Okay, let's see if that worked then. All right, chat. One more time. Is there an echo this time or no?
Give it a test. Testing. Hopefully there's no echo.
Let's see what we have with that one.
Echo, yes.
All right, I'm gonna have to figure this out then. I'm not sure. Even with the headphones.
Test it.
Dang.
It's on mine. Let's see. I'll deafen again on the Discord. Well, then you won't be able to hear me. That doesn't make sense.
Is it, hold on, is it because you're watching the stream? Is it coming from the YouTube side?
I'll close it out. I have the audio muted on YouTube, but I will try closing it out, and then I just won't be able to read the chat. So let me know what they say. I just closed the window for it. I'll pull it up on my phone.
So I have the stream muted on my end, and then it looks like he has the stream muted on his end now. So is there still an echo?
Echo. Damn it.
All right, we might have an issue here. I guess. I guess we need more testing then. I don't know if there's the option.
I don't know. Figure out what different. I don't know what else we would be able to do.
Yeah, I'm talking with Nate right now to see any other options. Maybe let's try this too. No, because that mutes the desktop audio, right? Because hold on, chat. Give me a second here. Is there a way that you can stop sharing your desktop audio? Is what I'm being told. Yeah.
Was I sharing it? I don't believe I had my desktop audio on. I just had my face cam on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I don't have any speakers attached to my PC other than the headset I'm wearing, so I don't know how that would come through.
All right, well, I'm lost. Let's see if Nate could help, but if not, then we might have to retry.
Yeah, that's okay. Get it from the phone, ZINC. Call again. Just use the announcer voice. The chat said there's no echo now, but low volume. So maybe it was from me watching the stream.
So you guys could still hear Mr. ZINC, but now there's no echo? Sounds like it might be just coming through my mic.
No echo, but poor audio. It says because he's coming through your mic from your speakers.
All right, so let's try to put it. Let's put the headphones in the speaker. We could try that as well. Okay. All right, chat, we've tried another option here. Tell me if there's an echo this time. All right, give it another test real quick, see if there's an echo on this one. So now you can't hear him at all, right? So it's probably off now though, because I tried using the headphones. Yeah, I can't hear him at all. All right. Try it.
On the Discord, but that would probably have the same outcome.
All right, chat, how about that one? I tried one more setting. I'm going through the settings here. We might be able to get it. I'll give it a couple more chances. Yeah, test one more time.
Testing it again. Probably will need to have my audio turned up as well. Oh, someone said good now.
It's perfect now. Uh-oh. We might have found it.
Oh, ZINC is cleared. Sorted. Good. Much better.
Okay, so here it is.
Yes, great. Good fix. Perfect now. That's good. Sounds totally fine now. Good. What did you end up doing?
Let's go. It was in OBS. It was on the desktop audio, whereas in Discord, it was through the headphones. So both in OBS needed to be through the headphones, and in Discord also needed to be through the headphones.
The eagle has landed.
The eagle has landed. Okay. All right. Let's throw him back up here now.
Awesome.
Oh, let's get him over here. Okay. All right. Let's start from the beginning then. Jeez. All right. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing very good. Um, Extremely happy that you were able to get here on stream. There has been
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
quite the amount of questions for you, I must say.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It will be recorded. Yes, it's recorded on YouTube automatically.
So,
Batch a stream.
if you don't mind, if we could start with like a little background of yourself, just give the chat like an insight to who is Mr. Zinc and why you're even trading, what made you start trading, like who's Mr. Zinc?
So I have been trading for about 8 years now. I would say 6 of those I would be trading realistically or in a profitable manner. The first 2 years I was like 18, 19, 20. I was just kind of doing it for fun. Started around that AMC and GameStop thing and then realized that I was going to make a lot more money doing this as opposed to having a college degree or a biology degree, which is what I had. Fast forward a couple years, full-time trader. I worked at like a local rec department for just mowing lawns and lawn care, stuff like that. Traded my part-time, started getting really profitable at that, and then just took off, turned that hobby into a full-time career now. And now I keep it as simple as possible with strategies like the IB, using micros when I trade, uh, trying not to churn through prop firm accounts, sell options with the money that I make from prop firm payouts, and then just live a realistic life, not something that it's going to be super flashy. If anyone saw the tweet that I had a couple days ago, living within your means, one payout should be able to last you well over a couple of months. Obviously, it depends on where you live, but just as realistic of a trader as it can get, as authentic as it can get, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so the thing that the reason why I wanted to ask is because like people think that you have to have this special kind of ability, you got to be some kind of genius, you got to know the secret, or there's some kind of holy grail. When the reality is anybody can accomplish this. You don't have to be some kind of Yale or Harvard student. A normal person, a normal, 9 to 5 worker, a high school grad, a college grad. There's no real expectation when it comes to like who's capable of achieving profitability in this business. And I just wanted to make that clear for everybody that's watching because, for me, like realistic expectations are very key. You don't have to be this genius to participate in this business. You just have to have some, self-control. You have to be able to master your mind and your emotions and find something that you could work with. And that was going to be my second question for you was it sounds like you found something that you can work with. What brought you to this IB? What was the reason that, that was the model that you started trading? Is there something to it that made you say this is it?
Funny enough, it was actually brand dealership that I had with Edgeful. I mean, that was the opening call that I had with their CEO, and it's just a data analytic firm. Not trying to promote them on the stream, but they showed me how useful this tool was, and I'm big on numbers. I always have been. Just using numbers in terms of trading takes a lot of stress off of the emotional impact. For example, you backtesting the IB for the past 2 weeks, or the past two streams that you had, taking a random date, backtesting it, knowing that, okay, these are what the numbers are presenting you. This is a reliable strategy as long as you approach it in a somewhat mechanical way. So using the numbers and data and knowing that, hey, the IB has about a 75% to 72% chance of playing out on this day, 75% chance on this day, takes a lot of stress off of the emotional factors you have to bring to trading. That's why I found it so clear and so easy to trade.
And so I definitely point to this a lot of times, and I really wish people took this into consideration more. Putting the time in, collecting the data, and not proving to other people, but proving to yourself, right? Like throughout that entire statement, you didn't reference like, oh, I saw, social media and this guy told me that it was a 95% win rate, so I tried it. Like you owned all of it and you said I went and collected the data and this is what the data told me.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
I'm a firm believer of that too. I highly suggest everybody here collects the data on their own. Like even for today's conversation, I still think you need to go prove it to yourself, because the other aspect to this is the conviction that comes with it, right? We can, this might work for Mr. Zinc, right? But it's not going to give you the mental and emotional stability that you're going to need to trade. What is going to do that is you clicking the buttons. Like when you've done something so many times in a row that you know the ins and outs of it, so you're not really questioning yourself during the time of, and you don't really have that impulsive, emotions that occur in this market.
Great point there. For the first 2 years I was trading, I was on social media looking at what worked for other people. And I was forcing myself to try to use that as opposed to understanding what works with my brain or the emotions I bring to the table, and knowing that just because this person uses inverse fair value gaps or this person uses changes in state of deliveries or whatever strategy I was looking at and consuming at the time, that didn't work for me. This one works as well as it can.
Exactly. And so you had mentioned a percentage in there too. It was like 70 or 72%, something like that. I just want to go back to that real quick. Is that a win rate? Is that the initial balance breaking? What was that percentage that you're referring to?
So on each given day, and that goes along with Edgeful, they collect the data for me. But if you wanted to back test this, like if you went and used the data on the back testing streams that you have, you can go to each specific weekday, and you can look at Tuesdays, for example. Tuesdays have the highest chance of having a successful IB break, meaning that if the high forms first on a Tuesday, you're going to be targeting the low. Those ones have about an 82 to 90% chance of happening on a Tuesday. To counter that, on Thursdays are usually the worst days that the IB plays out. And this is all just from data collection. You can do it yourself, or you can rely on a data firm like Edgeful for that. They do it so I don't really have to backtest it. But again, if you were to just go and look at the backtesting sessions that you did, you should be able to see that Tuesdays probably played out the best, Thursdays probably the worst, Wednesdays second best, Fridays third best, Mondays fourth best.
Very good. So I'm just going to point to a couple different things there. He's referring to the IB breaking, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but he's not referring to a win rate.
Correct.
So there's a whole different side of this conversation, right? You could know the percentages, but if you can't handle yourself within the position, that is something that's going to greatly change the win rate.
Exactly.
And in my opinion, that's where the whole conviction statement comes in that we just mentioned about, proving it to yourself. Because then if you have more conviction in your own business, then you'll allow things to play out. You'll allow, the probabilities to work in your favor, instead of having some kind of emotion step in and, when you're in drawdown, you get too scared and you bail on your system because you're too fearful of that red number, right?
Go ahead.
That's going to be something that changes the win rate. And then at that point in time, this whole conversation about, the chances of an IB breaking, it doesn't matter, because the operator itself is ruining the system.
Yeah, and all the questions you guys are having in chat right now, we'll answer that throughout the stream today. We have another 42 minutes here, so anything that you have a question about for the IB, that's not entirely as simple as just entering at the 50% mark, which we're going to cover today. So there are some other influences on the IB. Ash has asked me several times throughout the week, why'd you exit here? Why do you get in here? So there's always a learning opportunity with those trades. It's not as straightforward as it may seem.
Very good. Yeah, chat, do me a favor too. Go give Mr. Zink a follow. He's been posting this stuff on social media, so you can get a lot of free education from it. If there's any other locations, if you want to let them know where they can find you too, that would be great because there's a lot of value here.
Yeah, it'll be just on the link that Ash posted. I don't know if it's in the description of this. Probably might be. Yeah, there it is. For my link tree, you can get me on YouTube or just on X, as he said. And a
Amazing.
little alert for you, they did hit 150 likes. It looks like.
Very good. So let's just
Chat.
break it up real quick with a quick little giveaway. Let's see. We're going to do some My Fun and Futures accounts. Let's see. We'll do 3 giveaways for My Fun and Futures accounts. And we'll make MFFU the word. So chat, do me a favor. Congratulations on hitting the mark. You guys made yourself a deal. If you type MFFU into chat, that will put you guys into the giveaway. And in a couple minutes, we will run the giveaway winners. All right. So to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is type MFFU into chat. Do not spam it, please. Okay, in a couple minutes, we'll run the giveaway winners. All right, so Mr. Zinc's link was put into chat there as well, along with the description of this video. So definitely give him a follow. Take a look at his information because, you know, I didn't even get to highlight it, but, you know, feel free to tell chat. You just crushed a 30K payout on Apex, didn't you?
I did. I'm still waiting for it to settle in the bank, but it's on the way.
But it has been approved.
Yep.
So, all right, very good. And so let's dive into that more because, you know, there's so many different little nuances to this trading thing, and strategy is only a part of it. So, how did you go about implementing this strategy within Apex and trading it on prop firms? What would be like maybe 2 or 3 key points that allowed you to even pass the eval and get to the payout stage?
The one that I recommend to everyone, and this is probably what a lot of you know me as on social media, is the micro guy. I only trade 1 to 2 micros on pretty much every setup I take. I take 25K to 50K accounts, no more than 100K, 150K. I don't think you need accounts that size. I think the 25K are the best plans, 50K second best. Those accounts, obviously you're not going to be making much if you're trading 1 micro. You'll make another $100 a day, which in itself still a lot for people that are starting out. But if you're copy trading that $50 to $100 profit per day over 20 accounts, like I did on Apex, that's $1,000 to $2,000 a day, just aiming for 25 points on 1 micro. 12.5 points to 25 points on 1 micro. That will give you, or 2 micros, sorry. That's $1,000 to $2,000 a day. Perfect way to look at it. And I mean, think of what other people in the world work for, 8 hours a day. You need to be content with that amount. The sizing aspect as well. The biggest struggle I see with every single future trader there is they will size up, and that will prevent their strategy from playing out for them. So if they have a 50K prop account that's really 2,000 in drawdown, if you're risking $500 per trade, that's 4 losing trades in a row, which regardless of your win rate, even up to like an 80% win rate, you are almost guaranteed to hit 4 losing trades in a row. So if you size down, I'm risking typically $80 to $120 per trade. I have to lose 10 trades in a row with probably a strategy that has a 70 plus win rate. Not that likely that I'm going to lose 10 trades in a row. So I'm allowing my strategy to play out over a longer period of time, which again, going back to your back testing videos, Ash, You back tested it for I think 2 months, right? For both of them, and both had a winning outcome.
Yep. We did do two different, one was a public live stream, one was in the Discord. The first live stream was on YouTube. That ended out with a profitable outcome. It was, let me just pull up the stats, but I believe the first one was a 60% win rate. Let's take a look real quick. So the first outcome was a 63% win rate. It was 12 wins. What is that? 7 losses. It gave us a 2.95 profit factor. So that's something I do want to talk about as well, because people look at this, right? So feel free to tell me if I'm annotating any of this incorrectly. But right, so the initial balance is your first hour of New York Open, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what we're doing is, or let me rephrase that, what Mr. ZINC is doing is he's outlining the low to the high of that range. So the range is 9:30 to 10:30, and he's outlining the low of the range and the high of the range. And then that's how you can understand what 50% of the range is. And then the goal to this is, feel free to correct me if anything that I'm saying is wrong. If the low of the range is set first, we look for longs. If the high of the range is set first, we look for shorts. And
Correct.
When we're saying first, we're referring to time, right? So if you're looking at my screen, you can see that the low of this range was created at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The high of this range was created at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 9:30 is first. That happened first because 10 a.m. happens after that. So that's how we know that we would be looking for longs here. And the location that we want to be longing from is 50% of the range. Stop goes at the low of the range. TP goes at the high of the range. So it was a little bit of a long-winded response, but the thing that I was going for here was everybody looks at this and goes, oh, this is a one-to-one risk to reward. So how, if you're only dealing with near a 50 to 60% win rate, how is that really a profitable strategy? Right? Because one-to-one at 50%, that's break even.
Yep.
So the goal that I was going for with that statement is the volatility within the market is not always the same. So you're looking at a one-to-one risk to reward, but that doesn't mean that your results are going to result in a one-to-one risk to reward, simply because some stops are going to be smaller than others. Some wins will be smaller or larger than others. So it looks like one-to-one risk to reward, but that's not the overall outcome. The outcome is based upon the volatility. Sometimes you're going to have larger stops. Sometimes you're going to have shorter stops.
Exactly. So for yesterday's example, that was about a 95-point break. So if you lose on one micro there, it's $180 or $190 you're going to be down. Where had it been a losing day on MNQ, it broke on MNQ yesterday. MES did not, and we'll cover that here in a minute as well. Tuesday this week, that same exact trade, same exact setup hit 50%. That was a 185-point range from the 50% or 185-point trade. So even if it's a 50-50, like you were just saying, or a 50% win rate with a one-to-one R, yesterday's loss was maybe $180, whereas Tuesday's win was over 360.
Right. So that's the point that I was trying to make, is that, that people just look at, the position indicator tool and say, oh, one-to-one risk to reward. How is that profitable? Well, what you're not understanding is the volatility within the market changes every single day. What determines a risk to reward is the outcome of your trades, right? Yep. When your losers are about $100 and your winners are about $200, that's a 1-to-2 risk to reward, right? Because And then the other part of the statement is all of these are averages. So we're talking about averages and we're talking about different results. That's what's going to actually create a risk to reward, not this position indicator tool. This position indicator tool is always going to say 1-to-1 RR. But the amount of points to your stop loss, the amount of points to your TP is what changes your RR.
Exactly. So for something else I want to add in there too, I pay almost no attention to what my win rate is for the strategy. Now, I know that's a little controversial. Profit factor, I think, is the only thing you need to be concerning yourself as a trader. If you go and look at, I pulled this up yesterday, a great example because they show it is on Top Step TV. Whether you like them or not, they do show what all their top traders have for a win rate. It says batting average, total profits. The top 10 traders, their win rates are all below 50%, every single one of them. Their top trader has 540,000 in profits, and he has a 36% win rate, 36.1% win rate. So if you're concerning yourself with what a win rate should be, and you're worried about, okay, I need a 70+% win rate, I need an 80%, 90% win rate, and I need to worry about this risk reward. It needs to be at least 2 or 3 risk reward. None of the top traders, even the ones on Wall Street, I think the best ever trader on Wall Street had a 76% win rate. And you guys can feel free to fact check me on that. But the average trader, the average profitable trader, usually somewhere between 50 to 70%. Anything over that for a longer period of time is extremely unlikely.
And that right there is setting your realistic expectations versus unrealistic expectations. So this is a little off topic, but I need to say it. If it's too good to be true, it is not true. So if you guys are falling for this social media marketing, these people that only show green P&Ls every single day, I'm here to tell you that that is social media marketing. They are doing it for clicks. They are doing it for engagement. They are doing it for an affiliate code. They are doing it for a paid Discord. Okay, so instead of falling for social media marketing, let's worry about our own business, right? So all I'm trying to make out with that statement is don't believe anybody else. Go put the work in yourself and collect the data to prove it to yourself that you can do this. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. What does matter is you find a way to take money out of this market. I don't care about your win rate. I don't care about your RR. At the end of the day, you are either green or red. That's it. Like if you make money from this market, that's why we're here. That's the only thing that matters. You find a way to take money out of the market and put it in your pocket. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing.
Yep. And you have people that, if you just take a scroll through Twitter, you have people that have a 90% win rate and they have a 0.1 to 0.2 risk reward, meaning that they're risking $200 to make $25. On the same note, you have people that are trading with a 30% win rate, but they're risking $100 to make $2,000 on their trades. So just worry about what works for you. Exactly what Ash just said. Worry about what works with you, what works with your brain, and how you can go about trading that.
Amazing, amazing information. And then let's also dive into how this works for you, right? Because that is a portion of the conversation that I did want to point out. And some of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned it earlier, are you always entering at 50% of the range? Are you always holding to full TP? Is there anything else that you're adding to this that you would want to tell everybody else? Another example of that question would be, when price gets to IB50, is there some kind of entry function, or are you just entering? Like, do you look for anything else?
So there are quite a bit of added stipulations to this. I want, if you could go to Tuesday from this week, because that's probably one of the better examples of this. And I'll wait for it to catch up on stream here.
So that was also going to be another question too, is do you just stay on the 15-minute chart? Do you use other
I'm
time frames, or
always on the 15-minute. I'd rarely go down. The only reason I would go down to a 1 minute or 5 minute is just to look at what price is doing tick to tick. On the 15-minute, obviously, you can't really see what's going on. So for Tuesday example, what's on the screen right now, I entered well before the IB finished developing, which is 10:30. If you go down to the 1 minute time frame, so you can see the exact entry on that, that 1 minute time frame shows you that we hit that 50% on Tuesday at uh, get back to Tuesday
1019,
myself. Yep.
1019, 1020?
So I entered at 10:20 on that trade. The reason that I take the trades early has to do with the size of the range. So if the range is yesterday, as I said, was 80 points from the midpoint, or 80 to 90 points from the midpoint, whereas Tuesday's range, the top to the bottom, I believe, was almost 400 points, if you want to double check there for me. So that, I think it was a 195 point entry that I had, meaning that I'm almost going to make $390, almost $400 off of one micro. I do not, the reason I entered that early is because I do not expect price to reverse all the way up. And that's another statistic that I add into this model. When price is trending in one direction, it will continue to trend in that direction 80% of the time. Only 20% of the time does price reverse on itself. That's a massive data point for a lot of traders, because I've seen many traders, I'm sure you have the same thing. So many people try calling BS on, especially when gold was just moving weeks ago and it was skyrocketing every night. You have people that catch the trend, they're profitable, and then you have people that are trying to reverse the move the entire time. They're trying to call BS on the move up. That's an added stat in with the IB. If price is trending down as heavily as it is on Tuesday, we have a huge range, 400 points. Price probably isn't going to retrace another 200 plus points to the upside of that IB. And I just mentioned that Tuesdays are usually the best win rate days for the IB, or the best chance of success on the IB. So I'm okay with entering. It does add risk on, because that means there's 10 minutes that it could continue to push the IB high. I might get stopped out prematurely. Another thing to add in with this, and this is the main point that I wanted to mention to you, is the IB needs to be lined up with SPY and Qs. So when you were doing your backtesting stream, I noticed that some of the days that you were looking at, for instance, we haven't had any recent examples, but if SPY is showing that the IB low is formed first and the IB high is formed second, and it's targeting the IB high for a break, whereas Qs is in opposition to that, the IB high formed first with the IB low formed second, meaning that Qs is targeting the low. SPY and Qs are supposed to go in the same direction. And every prop firm there is has a rule against hedging. If you're hedging like assets, ES and NQ, you'll likely get banned. So if the IB is indicating that SPY should be going up while Q should be going down, one of those is lying. Even if one of those isn't lying, I'm not going to break rules on the eval. I'm not going to break rules on the funded account, whatever prop firm it is. That's a no trade day. And the reason behind that no trade day is because it leads to unneeded losses. One of those assets is lying, the other one's telling the truth. I'm not here to pick and choose between those two. So that's another key point in the IB, is that these assets need to be lined up. They need to be showing the same thing.
That is just pure gold. The thing that I want to go back to is being okay with entering before the IB is set.
Yep.
And then also, there wasn't really a mention of an actual, entry model, right? You're not looking for a specific candle pattern that you're willing to take the trade just based on IB.
Yep. So I'm not looking, I make this point very clear all the time. If I'm using the IB, I'm using the IB. If I'm using change in state deliveries, I'm using change in state deliveries. Mixing different successful trading strategies is going to make a losing trading strategy. There are ways that you can add points of confluence, meaning that it could increase the likelihood that something happens. But if you're trying to use the IB, you're trying to use inverse fair value gaps, you're trying to use EMAs with VWAP attached to volume profiles, and you're using all this different stuff, you're going to confuse yourself and it's going to end up kind of screwing you in the long run. So for this entry model, it's as simple as it gets with your IB high is your stop loss, your IB low is your take profit in Tuesday's example. You can enter, my hard rule is typically I enter 1023 to 1030, and the reason being 1030, obviously that's when the IB set, but as you can see on Tuesday, 1030 closed and the IB was 75%, 80% of the way done. Whereas I added a little tiny bit of risk on by entering before the IB formed at 1030. I entered at 1020, so that's 10 minutes that price could have pushed up to a new IB high. I'm willing to accept that risk. I rather take a trade at the 50 if it's 7 to 10 minutes before the IB's closed, especially adding in the size of the range on Tuesday. So it's a little intuition that you add in, but for your overall answer for that question, there's no added entry model. There's no added, okay, it needs to
Right.
have this fair value gap present. It needs to have the volume profile pointing this way. Adding stuff in makes word soup in your head, and then you get a little confused, and I think that bogs people down.
I think that is a very key point here because everybody's going to go and take this and then try to refine it, thinking that adding more things onto it is going to make it even better. When, in my opinion, simplicity brings
Yep.
clarity. The easier you make something, the better you're going to get at executing. Because when you ask yourself 30 different questions, it's just going to cause confusion. You're going to be
Absolutely.
looking at too much information. And within this market, every single piece of information is going to say something different. So if you're asking yourself more questions, it's just going to become more confusing.
Yep. And something to add in about that refining point and trying to make it better or trying to create your own model for it. The initial balance breakout originated in 1982. So this isn't something that I created. This isn't something that anyone that's under the age of 40 created in this current trading space. This trading model has been around since 1982, the 1980s. This isn't ICT stuff. This isn't anything new to the market. There's no reason that you need to go and refine it because it's been working for so long. Social media market makers, they're not going to see, okay, this trading model is going viral. We're going to start making it stop out or stop working as well. You don't need to refine something that's been working for this long. And people kind of laugh at it when I say this. Yeah, 1982 with a question mark. People kind of laugh at it when I say it's from that long ago.
So you're saying ICT didn't create this?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't create it. The people that taught me this or showed it to me didn't create it. I guess you could say refined it a little bit, but the only refinement that I did was making it work in my brain. I didn't make it work in a different way than it's worked for the past 40 odd years. I just made it work so it clicks with what I trade, how I trade micros, simplifying it down for myself. This isn't something that I'm trying to reinvent or repurpose. This is just something that's worked for 40 years.
Very good. Chat, do me a favor. If you have specific questions for Mr. ZINC, throw your question in the chat. I do also want to make sure that you guys get to do a little Q&A with him as well.
Yep.
So throw any questions that you have in chat. That way we can get to your questions as well. And here's the first one. When Mr. ZINC says he is entering before IB is formed, if the range is too big, what would you consider is too big?
Perfect example, Tuesday again, 400 points versus, it's really up to your discretion. I would say yesterday, and I know you pulled your hair out over yesterday because of how choppy it was. If your intuition's telling you that it's going to be a messy day or you're having a hair pulling trading day like Thursday and the range is The IB range yesterday was 190 points, so it wasn't even 200 points. Your reward is $190 on a trade if you get exactly the 50% entry, whereas on Tuesday it's a 400-point range. So 200 points versus 95 points for what your profit would be. Yesterday, I waited pretty much all the way until 10:30. I think I entered the trade at like 10:27, 10:28 because the range was so small. If you want to pull up today's chart as well, Ash, today's first 15-minute opening candle is larger. It's about 30% larger than the entire initial bounce range yesterday. So that's, I mean, it's not a hard rule set, but it's just using a little intuition or common sense with the sizing of the candles.
Very good. Now with this, do you add any type of bias? Is there any type of indicator? Is there anything else that you're adding to this?
I do add in are some other stats that I use. Gap fill by size, that's another big one, and the inside bars. Obviously, we didn't have one today, but gap fill by size, that tells you your percent chance of filling the gap, which today we had a 70% chance of filling the gap to the upside. So that would have had a somewhat bullish bias for me going to open. I don't trade the first 15-minute opening candle though. So there's not really a whole lot of bias associated with this. You can add some stuff on, but for the most part, if I wanted to, I could come into the trading day at 10:15 and still take this trade every day, or be able to identify what the bias is because the IB tells you what the bias is.
Very good. This is another great one. If post 10:30 a.m. price has already completed the IB and then it retraces back into 50% of the range, would you still consider taking the trade?
No, because the break itself is the draw for that move. So the IB itself, it's the original strategy is called the initial balance breakout. That is the first hour. It's very similar to how the orb works, the 15-minute orb. The first hour, that range has on any given day, and this is back tested for 20, 30, 40 years, on any given day, the initial bounce just by a wick has a 98% chance of breaking. So the high or the low of that first hour, that has a 98% chance. So once that breaks, that 98% stat's no longer valid. You're playing with a different entry model or a different strategy after that point. So if it's after 10:30, it breaks and then retraces the 50%, absolutely no entry on it.
Right. So the entire idea is the break of IB. So
Yep.
if it breaks first before an entry is given, we don't want to use that entry anymore because
Exactly.
the entire idea is based around the IB breaking.
And that's the hardest thing for people to do is not take a trade. It's a lot easier to get into a trade than it is to not get a trade.
I don't know if you've traded CFDs, but would you think that this strategy also works, for CFDs and forex?
Yeah, absolutely does. The beauty with CFDs is I kind of like the idea of them because you can risk what you want. So every time, as I was just touching upon with the ranges, yesterday our reward would have been $190, whereas Tuesday $400. With CFDs, you can just risk. If I wanted to risk $100 in the trade, and it's a one-to-one trade every day, that goes more so into the fact that you can trade it with, as opposed to what the size of the move is, you can trade it with what you want to risk. So if you have a 50 to 60% win rate in the strategy, that's still going to be profitable with one-to-one with CFDs. So it still works with CFDs, yes.
Excuse me. Very good. Is there a hard cutoff time? So let's say that the IB is set, the IB has not broken, but we're just consolidating. We haven't even gotten, it hasn't tested 50% of the range. It hasn't broken the range. We're just consolidating for the majority of the day. Is there a hard cutoff time where you'd say, I'm not going to take the entry?
So the most recent day that this happened was Wednesday, February 11th. The trade, I think you covered this quite a few times in your streams as well. When I enter a trade, I'm in the trade until it's either validated or invalidated. Validation's a little gray area because I will take the trade off early before it hits the IB, which I think you had a question for that. We'll cover after this. If I enter a trade, I'm comfortable with the loss. I'm also comfortable with the trade winning. I prefer it wins, but if I enter a trade, I'm comfortable with it losing. That being said, I'm in the trade until it either loses or it wins. So for Wednesday, and this only happens 2% of the time, so it's pretty unlikely when it does happen. I'm either in the trade until it hits the stop loss, hits the TP, or it hits 4 p.m. close when I'm forced liquidated on, unless I'm trading on a private broker or my own funded account. Even when it hits 4, that's the stat done. That only happens 2% of the time. So it is very unlucky when it does happen, but that's if it's just consolidating for the whole day, you're in the trade until your stop loss hits, or you're in it until 4 o'clock.
Amazing. And let's dive into that profit taking comment there too.
Yep.
Are you holding all the way to TP every single time, or is there something that will tell you, I'll take what's been given to me? We didn't break the IB yet, but this is good enough. I'll take my profits and get out of this.
So one of the reason I do this before I say that I take them early, Wall Street Einstein. I'm sure everyone knows him. Peter, I'm slipping on his last name. Looks like Einstein, and he's been on Wall Street for 50 years.
Yeah.
He's always said you never go broke taking profits. So if I'm in a trade like yesterday, the IB high missed by about 3 points on ES, and it missed by, I think, 10 points on QQQ, and that was 3 minutes after the 10:30 close. So we made on Qs yesterday, we made a 90-ish, 80-ish point move in 3 minutes, and I was in those longs. And in ES, we made a 18-point move in about 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes that I just made $200 on one M&Q, and the 2 MES that I had, that's $200 on 2 MES. So I'll take it early if it moves that fast, that quickly. There's no reason, and this is just my thinking on it. I know there's a lot of talk about letting your trades run to full TP versus letting them run to full stop loss. If I just made $200 over 5 accounts, or over 20 accounts, or over 30 accounts, however many I'm copy trading in 3 minutes, I'm taking that every single day. There's no reason for me to risk, even if I wanted to put the stop loss at break even, which it would have hit break even yesterday. There's no reason in my mind that I want to risk all that profit I just made for an additional $20 or $10. So that's why I'll take it early. So if it hits fast enough, typically the IB breaks like 10:45, 10:15, 10:50. Yesterday it almost broke in 3 minutes, and then it ended up breaking at 11:20. So I would have been in a trade for an additional almost hour. I would have been in the trade for another 50 minutes to make another $20 on one M&Q.
So it comes down to speed, is what it sounds like.
Yep.
If you're given majority of your target within minutes or seconds, then we're okay to take it. It does not need to complete the overall target. It's just a logical decision of, I just worked a 5-minute workday. Like, why would we hand that back?
Exactly.
Very good. Very good. So, and then that also brings up the next question. You slightly hinted to it there. Are you raising your stops to break even at any point during this process?
So I'm still trying to tweak that out. What I usually do is anytime, and again, this is with one micro. If I'm up $100, I'll trail a stop loss to break even. That's a 50-point trade on M&Q. Probably unlikely that price comes back down 50 points and stops me out, but I like to get my trades to risk-free as soon as I can. On the opposing side of that, a lot of the times I do get my trades to break even and don't secure them or don't let them run to full TP. I'll get stopped out at break even. So it's a gray area for me at the moment. I'm trying to fine tweak that and understand when to move the stop loss up as opposed to securing the trade or just leaving the stop loss at where it is. I will say, for a lot of the trades that I leave the stop loss where it is and I get a little greedy, several times I've had the trade go from $200 green to $200 red by not moving the stop loss up. So it's something that's a little difficult for me to make a point on. I'm struggling with it myself.
No, it's very good. And when you say break even, is that a couple points above break even, or are you actually willing to go flat on the day?
It's a couple points above break even.
Yeah, because we might as well take a little bit of green
Yep.
then.
As long as
There you
you're
go.
not trailing it up like 3 points behind on MNQ, and then get mad when you get stopped out. The
Right.
reason, so I see a question here: aren't you concerned about taking profit early and taking full size losses? That's the controversial point that I see all over the trading space. If you're gonna take full size losses, why are you not taking full size TPs? Most of the time, with the full time losses, the win rate will make up for that. The profit factor will make up with that. I know it does skew the data a little bit. It's all up to your discretion, though. So if you have a high win rate and you're worried about having a full stop loss hit, you can also trail your stop up, or especially with trading with micros, 1 micro, 2 micros. If I'm up $800 in the week and I end up taking a full stop loss of $200 or $300, I'm still going to view it as a winning week.
Very good. Now, are there any specific news days or bank holidays in which you don't execute?
I think the same thing as you. CPI, I usually go in a little weary of the IB. My one hard rule for this: absolutely no trading before NFP. No trading whatsoever before NFP. I always, and I think this is why Thursdays have the largest losing streak for the IB. Thursdays before NFP, I always end up getting stopped out on those, or I end up screwing myself with. I take an entry, it looks perfect, and then I get whacked out because it's NFP on Friday. So I don't know what it is about those days, what it is about NFP, pre-NFP data, but I always end up losing. So no trading from me.
I know we only got a couple more minutes here. I know you got the My Fun and Future stream too, so I definitely want to make sure you get a break in between there. If there's any chance, maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the Edgeful reports too. Is because it sounds like a lot of these decisions are being based upon, those probabilities. Is there any kind of specific reports that you'd want to point to that are important in terms of your decision making?
So it's always the IB by rejection report, and that's the one that I go to for each given weekday. That one gives you, you go to IB by rejection, and the IB by rejection tells you if the high forms first, this is your chance of breaking the low for this day. If the low forms first, this is your chance of breaking the high for this day. That report gives you your spread through the week. So just pulling it up real quick here, Mondays are the fourth best, sorry. Those ones have about a 72% chance for both the high and low. So if the low forms first, you have a 72% chance of breaking the high, and vice versa. Tuesdays are your big one. Those ones have an 82 to 90% chance on, and it depends if you refine it to 6 months, a year, 2 years. 82 to 90% chance that the low forming first will successfully turn into a high break. And then Wednesdays, Thursdays are the worst ones. Fridays, second best. Though that's pretty much the only data report that I go to every single day. And then I also use, I mentioned that gap fill by size and the inside bar stat, which is the next largest report I use. The inside bar stat, if price opens within previous day's range, you have an 80% chance of hitting previous day's low or previous day's high, which I think you also target previous day's low or previous day's high quite a bit. I think that's why you said you were in shorts for yesterday, for previous day's low maybe.
Yep.
So previous day's low, you don't need the data for that, but that's another strong confluence that a lot of people use in their trading model, targeting previous day's low or previous day's high, or even previous week's high, previous week's low.
So IB by rejection,
Yep.
Gap size, or
gap
fill by size, and inside bar.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Wow. I mean, just pure value. I mean, the thing that I just want to highlight is that everything that you stated there was based upon data. Everything that was stated wasn't like an emotional response. Every time we had a question, you pointed to a specific data. Like, to me, that is conviction at its finest. That is, you knowing your model, knowing how to execute it, and the reason why. So, just very professional. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for your time as well. Is there anything that you would want to leave the community with? Is there something specific in terms of advice or any opinion that you have that you'd want everybody else to take home with?
The 2 points that I will die on the hill for: sizing down and not over trading. Sizing down is by far the biggest one. Everyone wants to go and hit a massive win day. If you have the account size for it, then you can size up. But for the most part, 90%, I think 97% of this community, they will unfortunately never reach payout or a second payout on a prop account. And that mostly comes down to your sizing on the trades. If you're trading with 1 micro, that's what you should be trading with on a 25K account, 1 to 2, because of the risk tolerance that you have. Now, if you have a $30,000 account or a $50,000 account, a genuine 50K account with 50K in drawdown, then you can start looking to size up to 1 mini. But I think for the most part, 5 micros, maybe work your way up to 6 to 7. If you size down and actually let your strategy play out, then you will see a massive difference in your profitability with trading.
Amazing. It just comes down to delayed gratification. Everybody wants it right now, but
Yep.
they won't go through the amount of time that it takes to collect the data or just do it even properly. And then, they'll emotionally get upset and, blame the market or blame something else. And then they'll never come back because they've already blown up, simply because they can't deal with delayed gratification. They want to hit a home run instead of just, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I wish a lot more people understood that concept.
Yep.
So, guys, please give Mr. ZINC a follow. I would love to get him back here on stream again because the amount of value that was provided there is just incredible. The man literally just went and hit a 30K payout at probably the hardest rules within a funded account over there at Apex. So, the proof is in the pudding. The value speaks for itself, and hopefully you guys show him enough love to the point where he wants to come back and join us again. So, yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. That way you can get a break in between this and the next live stream. But, thank you. Unless you have anything else, I'll let you close it out. If I'm gonna stay here on the live stream, so it's up to you whenever you want to head out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything else. You will on the IB right now. I'm looking for an IB high break for today. We just had a consumer sentiment which moonshot us, but yeah, that's about all I have for today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely. So, and here's the links here. We just threw them in chat again. It looks like he's got a Twitter. I believe he's got an Instagram. Are you on YouTube yet, or?
Yep. Yeah, I have a YouTube.
Very good. Get over to the Twitter. Get over to the Instagram, the YouTube.
It should be on the link tree as well.
And then do you also have any educational content too? I love doing free PDFs. So if you have anything to point to, that would be, please let them know.
Yep. It will be in my link tree as well. It should be, got to figure out how to add a tab to the bottom of that, but that will have the IB PDF on that. And then most of the questions that people have, that will be covered on any YouTube videos I have, because I do have several free ones on the IB.
Very good. Well, I don't see why we can't continue this. I would love to see you run up another max payout. As we spoke about before, sorry about getting banned, but you gotta keep those accounts now because they're not going to allow you to buy any more evals. So
the next one for me is going to be that 100K one from my funded futures.
There you go. And what do you do with that? Right? Like, I mean, some people have never seen that kind of money. What are you going to do with it?
I will say that there's not much of a difference in like 10,000 to 100,000 if you're making that monthly. Obviously, you're going to be a lot more comfortable with one, but I mean, there's only so much that you're going to be able to buy, and for the most part, it's Like if you have a house and a truck and a car, whatever your needs are, I don't think that really exceeds like 3 to 4,000 a month. Obviously, depending on where you live too, but there's not really much of a difference. That would probably just go into either a long-term savings account and set me up for a significant period of time, or like I said, with that 30K payout, that's enough to last my living expenses for like 9 months to a year.
That's usually where I go with everything is, I want to stay within this business. So I make sure that the cushion is always there. In my personal opinion, I would tell everybody to have at least 12 months of an emergency fund. And when I talk about an emergency fund, I'm not talking about, you get into a car crash and now you have to pay for medical bills. I'm talking about, being able to pay your mortgage, make sure the lights are on, make sure there's always food in the fridge. That's an emergency fund. And then you also need to have a disaster fund too, right? Because if you do get into a car crash, those bills are going to heavily exceed that emergency fund. So the overall comment is just revolving around making sure that you have a cushion so that you can stay within the business for the long term. Usually a lot of the emotions to finances come when people are over leveraged. I'm not talking about trading, but I'm talking about oversizing in your personal life. When your expenses are greater than, your income, you're going to be stressed. And that's something that's going to change your trading abilities. You don't need those added pressures. We need to be able to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And the way that I do that is making sure those expenses are there, and not risking it. I'm not talking about having that in a 401k. I'm talking about having that at your, disposal. So in your own bank. Yeah. So very good.
Yeah, well, that's all I got for you today.
Thank you. Chat, throw a bunch of W's in chat for Mr. ZINC. He is live streaming over on My Fund of Futures too. So if you want to continue the conversation with him, it looks like he'll be live over on My Fund of Futures YouTube at about 10:30.
Yep.
But give him a follow. What a phenomenal conversation. Maybe if you show him enough love, we'll be able to get him on the live stream again. So give him some love. And yeah, thanks for being here.
I will see you soon.
All righty, man. I hope you have a great day.
You as well. Peace out.
Have a good day. Bye. Wow. What an amazing conversation. All right, chat, let me know if you could still hear me. Those audio settings were quite rough to start with. As you can see, I am not an OBS expert, so hopefully we are still good to go. Let me see. Chat, is Tradovate still down, or is Tradovate still down? Let me know. Here, how about this real quick? I'm not going to close the live stream. Can't exit Tradovate. Mine's back. I was going to see if I can sign into my account to take this IB to give another example of that entire conversation we were just having. I'm not leaving, but I do not want you seeing my broker information. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to stay here. Just give me 2 seconds. I don't want you seeing my broker information. Okay, let's see if I can sign in. All right, well, looks like we are still having issues. Okay, well, I guess it doesn't matter because look at what we got. Tradovate is not allowing me in, chat. They are not allowing me in. All right. Well, unfortunate. I was going to take an IB there to continue the conversation about IB. But here we are. It looks like he said he looks to enter around. I mean, look at that IB. I mean, it already bounced once. So I'd be curious to know if he took that long right there. And it's already up. How many points? You guys were able to get in? All right. One more attempt real quick. Let's see. Again, I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to try to see if I can get in one more time. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Something went wrong. We cannot finish the authorization process. TradingView has not been entitled to access your account. Hold on, hold on, hold on. All right, so it allowed me in on the Tradovate side. Give me a second here. Add-ons, activate. Okay, maybe it might work. Might work. No, for some, why is it? What's going on here, chat? All right, last attempt. All right. Well, I guess you all are lucky. I'm still getting the same error message here. This is quite unfortunate. I wanted to get the IB in today to show you a real live example as well, but they're not letting me sign into my live account. So unfortunate. Is anybody else able to get in? I did refresh TV as well. I tried that. I saw the comment, but I still got the same answer. So still got the same answer. Unfortunate. I hear you guys. I know that I understand that you guys got in, but it's not letting me in. I need to get in. Right? So, oh, see, Lucky Dog is also saying he's having issues. So it's just press connect, new Tradovate tab will open. Yep, that happened. Guys, I mean, here, I'll try a third time, but I'm telling you right now, it's not letting me in. Let's try one last time. Tradovate. Connect. Okay. After it says connect, it has me over into the Tradovate. Oh, chat. It took a third time. Chat, it took a third time. We're here. I guess you just can't give up, huh? You just got to keep trying. You just got to keep trying, chat. You just got to keep trying. All right, let's hop over here. Let's hop over here. See how much risk this would be. Unfortunately, get off my screen. Get off. There we go. So I wasn't able to get that tap into 50% of the IB there. Thank you to Tradovate. Lucky number 3. Excuse me. See if we can try out the IB as well. All right. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit of an early entry at about 50% of the range. See if they give any type of bounce at 50% of the range. Right, that is 200 points. So one contract would be about $400. So we'll see what happens. See if they want to bounce around IB. Let's see what happens. See if it tests the IB50 one more time. Give us a little bounce. Will they let us in there, or let's see. All right, let's see if it gives any type of bounce there. Put the stop at the low. See if IB bounces at all. See a live trade from the conversation we were just having. See what happens from here. Yeah, when I back tested it, I did 2 different back tests. The first back test was about 3 months worth of data. There was a 63% win rate on that one. And then on the second back test, that was also 3 months worth of data. That was about 53% win rate. But as we were just talking with Mr. ZINC, it's really not about win rate. It's about RR. So, you know, don't get lost in the win rate conversation. Don't get lost in the win rate conversation. So we had moved about 50 points there. This is where he had mentioned moving stop loss above entry. Okay, we've already moved about 75 points now. So now it's a risk-free trade, and we'll see if we can go target IB high. So W, Mr. ZINC, it looks like no matter what, today will be green, even if it's just small green. WIB. WIB. What does he say? IB remains goated. W, Mr. ZINC. Right, go ahead. Just rewatch the stream if you need to. He had mentioned if it moves, 50 points immediately, that he raises the stop above entry. Right, so now we have a risk-free trade. Today will be green no matter what. Right, notice how the stop is a couple points above entry. And we'll see if we go for the IB break at the high. So let's see if we can make about $400 here this morning. We're up about 250, so we're about halfway there. 163 for the day for Tyree. Let's go. Who else called a W? Who else caught IB50? And if you did, are you closing it? Are you done for the day? You just got a beautiful move there to start. You could have taken your $200 if you wanted it. So congratulations. W. W, W, W. Beautiful move off of IB50 there. Beautiful. Who else caught the W? Throw a W in chat if you just caught the W with me. Throw a W in chat if you caught the W with me. Notice that this is only 1 micro. You heard the man. He said he was going to die on that hill. Size does matter. Size matters because that allows this thing to play out, right? If you go and talk to anybody else, they're probably going to tell you that a 200-point stop, oh, that's too large. That's too large of a stop loss. Well, opinions are just noise. If you'd like to go home with near $200 here this morning, go ahead and be my guest. Go ahead and be my guest. You are sitting in profits currently. So let's see if the IB high gets broken. I'm going to go shout out Mr. ZINC on Twitter. Now you're looking at about 300 points. $300. So if you want to take $300 and be done for the day, be my guest. Go ahead and take your money. Call it a Friday. Be done. Be done. All right, chat. Is this the moment in time where we close? There you go. $250. I'll be done for the day. Thank you to Mr. ZINC. All right. The proof is in the pudding. You know, I don't know how else to, show you the value other than the man giving you the strategy and then the strategy working right in front of you in real time. Right? Like plus $250. People work an entire 8-hour workday for $250. Seriously. Seriously. So we can wait and see if IB breaks. We can see if full targets hit. But you just saw my executions. I'll take my $250. I'm done. I'll be finishing Friday green because of Mr. ZINC. So we'll see. So we will see. One micro, by the way. One micro, by the way. Yes, the winners of the giveaway were mentioned much earlier. We did that while Mr. ZINC was here, so that was about a half an hour ago, maybe even more. So it's not worth holding for full TP? I don't know. You tell me. You know, you work an 8-hour workday for $250, or let's see how long this took. Or, I mean, imagine sniping the bottom. Hold on, so IB actually is goated? What? We just sniped the bottom? All right, and we sniped the top? What is happening here? All right. We entered here 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. So you tell me, just logically speaking, $250 in 7 minutes or an 8-hour workday? Yeah, I don't care if the IB high breaks at this point. You know, if you're handed $250 within 7 minutes, you should take that money every time. Sure, like let's hopefully it does break. You know, I'm you know, it would be great if it did, but it's just logic speaking there, right? W. What was the point that Mr. ZINC mentioned about SPY and QQQ? The divergence between them. Okay, so if, right, QQQ is MNQ is NQ, they're all the same thing. They're referring to the NASDAQ. If the NASDAQ made the low first and the high second, right? If NASDAQ made the low first and the high second, and then you go and look at SPY, ES, MES, whatever you want to call it, they're all the same thing. Then you go and look at SPY, and SPY did the opposite, right? SPY made the high first and the low second. That's something that makes him say he doesn't want to take the trade. The divergence, right? Two correlated assets should be moving the same at the same time. So if they created a different IB than each other, then those two correlated assets are not in sync. And that's something that makes him say, I don't think I want to take the trade. So if NQ makes the low first and the high second, whereas ES makes the high first, then the low second, they're telling you two different stories, and that means one of them is lying. That means one of them is lying. All right. Very good question, Sam. Thank you for bringing that up. Those are the little intricacies that we need to know. All right. So chat, listen, this is the moment in time where I say, get green, then stay green. We just had a phenomenal morning. We got to interview somebody that took a $30K payout from Apex. We were able to ask him everything about his strategy, and then we just implemented his strategy in real time. Now comes the mental and emotional intelligence part of not over trading. This is going to be the difference maker right here. What are you going to do now? Are you going to continue to keep sitting here and clicking the button? Yes or no? Or are you going to accept $250 and be done for the day? All right, let me just leave one thought with you all before we start the weekend. You can copy trade. Imagine if that $250 was across 20 accounts. I'm not good at math, but let's do the math real quick. What is that, chat? I literally need to get a calculator out because I'm actually not good at math. So $250 times 20. Okay, well, if we're copy trading, you just made $5,000 in 7 minutes. This is the point that we need to get at. This is why we're satisfied with enough. Okay? It's not a matter of needing to know if the entire target gets hit. It's a logical response of you just made money and be done for the day. Because the point that we need to get to is one, being profitable. Once you become profitable, that's when you start scaling, right? When you go from one funded account to 20 funded accounts, now that $250 question is not even a question because it results in $5,000 in 7 minutes. That's the point that we need to get to. Okay, so I'm just going to leave you all with that thought. Take it for what it is. The point being is you just need to find a way to take money out of this market. Once you find a way to take money out of this market, then you start scaling. And the scaling is where you hit larger numbers. You don't hit larger numbers by holding a trade for, more time. You hit larger numbers by doing the same exact thing time and time again, but with more capital. Okay? So, what a phenomenal morning. W to end the week. That makes us green on the week too, by the way. So, now I'm happy going into Friday. Now I'm happy going into, the weekend. So, I'm going to wrap up stream there. I'm going to stand on my words. Once you get green, it's time to stay green. Go work on your health. Go be with family. Go do something good for the soul. Be done. Be done here. Don't hand it back. Okay? Amazing job today. Thank you all for your time. I'm going to contact the giveaway winners. If the giveaway winners take a look at the announcement section in the Discord, I'm going to contact you there, and then we can get those accounts issued. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll be right back here next week. I hope everybody has a phenomenal weekend. Go touch some grass. Go do something good for the soul. Go spend some time with some family. Let's get reset, recharged, and ready for next week. Thank you for your time. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I will see you all next week.